Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry, episode 3. So last time we had some, I guess, emotional chat or conversations between the characters. And we also even had George and Beatrice, or Beato I mean. They had a conversation there. So yeah, pretty emotional part last time. So let's see what happens today. Let's continue. The guest house lobby was wrapped in silence. The strings of tension binding Kraus, Natsuhi, and Ava had already loosened and they were completely worn out with their minds beginning to waver. Every once in a while, they would stand up and walk around pointlessly as though fighting their drowsiness.
大丈夫ですか、エヴァさん。やはり無理をせず休んでいてください。
大丈夫だって言ってるわ。もう大人は私たち3人しかいないのよ。休んでる暇なんかないわ。石にかじりついてでも、ここを死守するわよ。
She spoke bravely, but she couldn't hide her rough breathing. It seemed that the fever, which had calmed with the medicine for a short time, had returned. It was very obvious that Ava's health was not good.
無理はするな。せめて目を閉じていたまえ。もし起こさねばならぬ時は必ず起こしてやるから。
だから平気だって言ってるわ。放っておいて。
It seemed she was already unwilling to budge. Kraus and Natsuhi realized that even if they talked to her anymore when she was like this, it wouldn't reach her ears. So without anything or saying anything more, they decided to let her be. To Ava right now, even having an argument like that would be burdensome. It would probably be better for her body if she just sat there with her mouth closed. In truth, Ava was just a step away from being beaten down by drowsiness. Perhaps she shot back at them with a temper because she was trying to rouse herself and throw off her sleepiness. The clock would be pointing at 6 in the afternoon very soon. She'd had several snacks to distract herself from her drowsiness, so she didn't feel hungry. But now her lack of sleep made it feel like it was 6 in the morning, not the afternoon. Even supposing that the boat came at precisely 9 a.m. in the morning, they still had 12 full hours to go. It was an overwhelmingly long stretch of time. Long, painful, hot. Even the sound of the clock torments my body now. In times like this, when that person puts his hand on my forehead, the fever fades at once. But that person no longer exists. As Ava's mind grew foggy, she was once again gripped by a deep sadness. She had already cried herself dry. Even so, the sadness of losing her beloved husband had not been exhausted.
私は間違っていたんだわ。
どうして？
The new witch and Ava were fundamentally the same being. If Ava talked to her, she would always respond.
私は後宮家の当主の座さえ得られれば、それで満足のはずだった。それが、あの黄金の山を見た途端に欲が増えたの。あの黄金の山を独り占めしたい気持ちに駆られた。
それは恥じることでも何でもないわ。だって、後宮家の当主として当然の権利じゃない。他の誰にも黄金の一かけらだって譲るものかってのよ。
私がその誘惑にとらわれたから、あなたが生まれてしまったんだわ。あなたは、私の少女時代の心であると同時に、自分勝手でしかない私のよこしまな心でもあった。 そのあなたが、あの黄金の山によって芽生えた私の愚かな欲望のせいで、私の胸という卵の殻を破り、この世に生まれ出てしまった。あなたを産んだのは私の責任。
なら、私が殺したローザとマリアも。そして、ルドルフとキリエと秀吉もあなたの責任ってことになるわ。
どうしてうちの人まで殺したのよ。どうして
秀吉を殺す気はなかったわ。だって、うるさくてしつこかったんだもの。その意味では私たちの、いえ、あなたの責任ね。あんなのを旦那に選んだあなたの責任だわ。
あなたみたいな子供にあの人の良さはわからないわよ。あなた。
何よ。私たちは魔法で夢を叶えたのよ。碑文の謎を解いたわ。そして黄金を見つけ、当主の指輪を手にしたわ。すべての夢を叶えきったわ。それがなんで不満なの？
それだけが全ての夢なんかじゃないわ。あの人と素敵な人生を歩んで、ジョージに素晴らしい人生を託す。妻として、母として。私には、まだ叶えなければならない夢がたくさんあるのよ。それなのに、
それは、あなたが大人になってから勝手に増やした夢だわ。私たちの夢じゃない。
だからあなたは子供なのよ。自分さえ良ければいいの？そうよ。すべて私が悪いのよ。あの時、ローザの言うことにどうして私は反抗したの？どうして兄弟みんなに黄金を見つけたと発表できなかったの？すべて私が醜いから。黄金を独り占めしたくて芽生えさせたよこしまな心があなたを孵化させてしまった。
ひどい嫌われようだわ。私たちは二人で後ろ宮エヴァなのに。
いいえ、もう違うわ。そしてそれはあなたが言ったのよ。私は後ろ宮エヴァ。そしてあなたは黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェよ。だからもう消えて。魔女なんておとぎ話の中にしか存在できない妄想よ、幻想よ。あなたなんか消えてしまえ。二度と私の前に現れないで。
Oh my god.
ああ、そう。
The emotion, I mean, of, yeah, Ava. So good.
わかったわ。あなたの前から消えてあげるわ。そして私は、もう後ろ宮エヴァじゃない。これからは、黄金の魔女、ベアトリーチェよ。もう好き勝手に遊んでやるんだから。あんたなんて知らないわ。へそでも噛んで勝手に死んじゃえば。
After having a very childlike tantrum, the witch who had once been another Ava vanished. Only Ava was left behind in the darkness, and she questioned herself.
私なの。私が彼らを殺したの。あの人を殺してしまったの。私が殺してしまったの。
She could no longer answer that question herself. But yeah, we actually haven't seen... No, I mean... Ava, like Ava, this Ava and Ava Beatrice, like in the same world, I guess. I mean, we've seen them like this just like a couple of minutes ago when they're talking like that. But we haven't seen them, for example, there's Ava Beatrice, there's actual Ava, and let's say, for example, there's another person, there's George, right? Yeah, we haven't seen them at the same place, I'll just say. Same place at the same time. It seemed that half asleep, she had gotten some saliva caught up in her windpipe just as she was dozing off. Ava suddenly started coughing.
大丈夫かエヴァ。夏希、水を頼む。
はい。
大丈夫だってば。ちょっとむせちゃっただけなんだから。
Ava pushed away Natsui's hand as she tried to rub her back and unsteadily rose to her feet.
顔を洗ってくるわ。ごめんなさいね、寝ちゃってたわ。戻ってきたらまたコーヒーを入れるわね。特に濃い、明日の朝まで眠気が来なくなるようなやつを。
うん、頼む。ゴーダの入れるコーヒーよりお前が入れるコーヒーの方が私の好みに合うからな。
お世辞でも嬉しいわ。すぐ戻るわ。
Ava exited the lobby, heading for the bathroom. Kraus and Nazi watched over her frail back.
あなたもあれだけ犬猿の中だったエヴァさんに気を使うこともあるのですね。
本来兄とはこういうものではないのかね。
ええ、それで正しいと思います。
エヴァに限らん。ルドルフにもローザにも。私がした兄らしいことといえば、それを王兵に語り、彼らをいじめただけだ。父のようになりたくて、私なりに必死だった。だが、いつもそれは及ばず、そのはけ口を彼らに向けてしまった。しかし、それは言い訳にならん。エヴァにも、まだ傷が癒えぬほどに、深い心の傷を負わせてしまっただろう。悔いているが、今さらそれを詫びたところで、その傷が癒えるわけもない。
あなたがその気持ちを今だけでなく持ち続けることで、その気持ちはきっと他の兄弟たちにも伝わりますよ。
今となっては他の兄弟もエヴァを残すのみだがね。
もしあなたとあなたのご兄弟が生まれた家が後宮家でさえなかったなら、もっともっと普通な楽しい兄弟の関係であったでしょうに。
それを言ってはならん。エヴァは生涯私を憎み続けるだろう。そしてその資格がある。私はそれを甘んじて受け止めるつもりだ。
あなた、
ちろん許さなくていい。
も
Damn.
ちろん許さないわ。何を今さら。
Here comes the other one. Oh my god. But yeah, nice what Kraus is saying here. Right? Very nice what he said here. Okay. But look at this. Here she comes.
悪いと思ったなら今すぐへそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。やっちゃえシエスタ姉妹。
Okay, what does it say? I cannot read it. It's
45射撃許可治療。射撃曲線再確認。飛行誤差修正。410へデータリンク。410データ受領。射撃許可確認。にひひひひ射撃。
Together, the sisters released the magical bowstring they had readied. A beautiful tail trailed behind the gold arrow, and it drew a lovely curve as it flew. It was just like a gold snake. It skillfully avoided a grove of trees and flew towards the front door of the guest house. Then it flew into the keyhole of the door and snuck into the guest house without any problem at all. The gold snake raced down the hall smoothly, yet as fast as an arrow. Right before it was the door to the lobby. When it flew into the keyhole, Kraus and Natsuhi were already... For an instant, Kraus thought he saw a gold-colored snake sparkle in the keyhole on the door. However, at the same time, he strained his eyes to see what it was, and that sparkle bent like a whip and attacked, wrapping itself around Kraus's neck. And then instantly... Just looking at it, the gold snake seemed very supple. However, it was though as a wire that tightened around Kraus's neck. And while that snake choked Kraus, it extended even more and also tightened around Natsuhi's neck. Without even a chance to scream, their eyes bulged as they went into convulsions and then collapsed.
45命中および死亡確認。牽引曲線形成補正点修正。410へデータリンク。410データ受領。死体牽引開始。2匹も釣れた2匹。
The gold snake began to drag Kraus and Natsuhi's body back. They slipped through the door to the corridor, dragging the bodies gradually, increasing in speed, and rapidly pulled them outside the guest house. Oh my god. I wonder what it would look like, right? Like, I mean, them just pulling it. I wish they'd showed us like a CG, right? Them pulling both Natsuhi and Kraus's body like that. So the lobby was silent as though nothing had happened. As though Kraus and Natsuhi had not been there since the beginning. Only the sound of the wind and the rain remained, as if they were playing dumb and pretending to be the only ones there.
ごめんなさい。もう大丈夫よ。
And now she returns. They're gone.
今コーヒーを入れるわね。
Ava returned from the bathroom, but no one was in the lobby. Even though they had supposedly been in that sofa until the moment she had choked and gone to the bathroom. They were gone as if they'd been an illusion from the very beginning.
不用心ね。二人揃ってどこに行っちゃったの？
Ava put her hand on the sofa as though acting out a scene from a detective novel. She felt a warmth that meant that they'd been sitting there until a short while ago. Maybe they went to do the rounds or something. For the time being, Ava sat down and waited for their return. I wonder where they're gonna find the bodies, right? Beato and George could be seen in the parlor of the mansion, so they made it here. George was kneeling near Shannon's body as though praying. His face was serious and there was even sweat on his forehead. But is this actually gonna happen though? I'm really doubting this. Or maybe it happens and then Beatrice or Beato, what do you call this? Like, I'm thinking she might be not really sincere about what she's doing. And yeah, maybe she's just pretending. Like she brings Shannon back alive and then kills her again, right? But probably, I'll give it like a 50-50. Yeah, 50-50 that might happen. Not 90%, not 99%. 50-50. However, Beato was the same. Now that she had handed her name over, most of her previous power had been lost. Of course, she still had more than enough power to be called a witch, but compared to the past, it was a very faint thing.
いいぞ、声をかける。手で心の声で呼べよ。心の手で求め。そなたの強き思いだけが、シャノンの失われた魂に、わらわの魔法を届かせる。
George kept praying earnestly and silently. He kept frantically yelling inside his heart, trying to call back the soul of the person he loved. He strongly envisioned his soul leaving his body and searching for her as she wandered through the land of the dead. Beato turned that strong force into magical power that supplemented her own magic. This was magic that in the past she could have performed easily without anyone's help. But now, if she didn't rely on someone's assistance, she wouldn't be able to finish the chant, much less succeed.
数百年近くも忘れておったわ。魔法と反言とはこんなにも辛い魔法であったか。
Beato was wearing an even strained expression than George. It had slipped in her mind, but originally the magic to revive a life was the ultimate hidden art. The abnormal thing was her previous magical power, which could be used over and over with a snap of her fingers. So the heavy burden on her body and mind was, fundamentally speaking, extremely natural.
しかし、こやつめの力、魔法を知らぬというのにかなりのもの。なるほど。さすがは金蔵の孫といったところか。
The strong energy pouring from George was large enough to act as a magical power. At first, Beato thought it must be the blood of Kinzo, the sorcerer. However, that probably wasn't it. She had a feeling that Butler had already told her what it was. It had been born from the power of George's sadness at the death of a person he loved, and from the way he had tried his hardest throughout his life. From the warm time spent together with Shannon to the size of the dream they swore to protect in the future. Is it really possible for humans to take a life so seriously even though they only have a single one? It was only natural. To her, a life didn't mean anything more than the difference between the top and the bottom of an Othello piece. If the black represented death, then she thought all you had to do was flip it over again and make it white. However, it was just like that broken vase. To humans in a world without magic, where they cannot return things to their original form, it is very, very natural for them to bet their life and soul.
生死すら自在にする無限の魔女、死の山さえ越えられぬ有限の人間に劣ることもあるというのか。
This time, the witch acknowledged it. He was able to hold a magical power that could never reside in witches who didn't understand the value of life. Why does this thing called the Endless Magic exist? Even though I called myself the Endless Witch, did I forget what the Endless Magic means for 1,000 years? She looked at George's expression again. His surging earnestness was like a lightning bolt. Right now, even if George's body had been burned or smashed by a wall, he would probably continue to pray for his beloved without minding it, without noticing it. For the first time, she showed respect for that power. So in an instant, all the magical resistance was lost and an enormous power of George's feelings turned into magical energy in its complete form. The vase, okay, we're going back. The vase was very beautiful, rich with history and value. Even as young as I was, it still forced me to take a deep breath when I witnessed its beauty. But that just made me want to touch it. But the vase really or easily fell and smashed into pieces, like a bubble that had popped. As though the time it possessed a form had just been an illusion. Lives are just fragile, just that easily lost. I realized that my foolish curiosity had led something that couldn't be undone. No matter how much I regretted it, no matter how much I apologized, the smashed vase wouldn't return back to its original form. A lost life will not return to normal no matter what happens. So I was frightened that even though my actions had been thoughtless and careless, they had stolen away a life that could never be revived again. Then I pitied that lost life and I cried. I was frightened of myself, the one responsible for its loss, and cried even more. I'm sure grandfather will also cry at the loss of his precious vase. I'm sure that all people who loves grandfather see him like that will cry. With the loss of a single life, the whole world can be filled with so much sadness. I cried even more at how terrible that was. Beatrice appeared and spoke.
ならばお嬢様、この壺を魔法で蘇らせましょう。それで皆が幸せになれるなら、壺も魔法も精霊たちも喜んでそのために力を貸し、元の姿を取り戻すでしょう。さあさあ、お嬢様、目を閉じて私と一緒にお歌を歌いましょう。さあさあ、目を閉じてごらんなさい。そして思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。それはきっと、とてもとても美しい姿。どうか私に、あの姿をもう一度見せておくれ。
Those words of power knocked forcefully on the door to the land of the dead. The magic of her old self had performed that same forceful knock. However, doing it that way was horribly violent and earned the displeasure of the peacefully sleeping dead. But this time was different. It was very forceful and yet gentle and loving. The dead near the door opened their eyes and called out to the others that there was a voice calling for someone to come back. Okay, what is... The sadness of that voice calling from the outside touched the hearts of the dead. Trying to respond as quickly as possible, they searched for Shannon's lost soul. It's so weird. And then they found it. They found a casket in which Shannon was peacefully sleeping. It was really Shannon's soul sleeping in the land of the dead. Inside the casket that was covered with rose flowers frozen with frost, she was sleeping in peace. The dead silently lifted that casket up. While at a glance it looked like a funeral march, it had the complete opposite meaning. It was solemn but filled with joy. The long-forgotten dead were made to remember that they were loved after their deaths, and they were all given a warm sense of peace. Then, as though guided by a warm light from the heavens, Shannon's body floated up out of the casket. The dead watched her go. They squinted at that warm light, offering their respect to this unknown member of the living who had not lost his love for a person even after death. Shannon's body was enveloped in the light from the heavens and began to disappear. In the jet black darkness of the land of the dead, the faint flickering of gold butterflies could be seen. It reminded them of the gentle stars in the night sky, which they had long forgotten. George remembered being told that he must not say anything, and he hurriedly covered his mouth. However, it felt like his heart was trying to jump into his throat, because he had seen Shannon's eyelids shake slightly. Then those eyelids slowly opened. Shannon's eyes were there, but they were still wrapped in the fog of the land of the dead. Is it gonna be like, remember Canon last time, or last episode? He got red eyes and it was not really Canon. However, the human world's warmth, no, her lover's warmth, which had called back her soul, slowly dissolved that fog, and her eyes gradually regained their sparkle. Then her eyes moved and recognized George.
George-san.
And her lips shook weakly, and Shannon definitely said that. The words were very faint, so much so that they normally wouldn't have reached his ears. However, George clearly heard them. He heard the person he cared for, his fiancée, the one he loved most and who should have been dead, call his name once again.
Shannon, 僕がわかるかい?
ジョージさん、これは夢なの？
いや、これは夢じゃないよ。だからほら、つねっても覚めないよ。
As George said that, he softly pinched Shannon's cheek. It was how George had always responded in the past when Shannon had been surprised by something and had asked if she was dreaming. When Shannon felt that warm touch of George's finger on her cheek, and when George realized that the warmth of living had already returned to his beloved person's cheek, they both cried. What words should a pair of lovers separated by death celebrate with when they are reunited? The words of the human world are not enough. In short, they had no need of the words of this world. George simply hugged Shannon, who was sitting up without talking. Shannon's strength was still feeble, and putting her arms around George's back took all she had. So George hugged her tightly to make up for that. To stop each other from going once more to a place the other's hands couldn't reach. They hugged each other so tightly and yet so gently. As Shannon's fingers curled around George's back, on her ring finger, the engagement ring George had given her definitely shone. That strong glint certainly wasn't just the sparkled diamond. There definitely was a magical power that the only two lovers could possibly feel. It was because the strong light existed that they had been able to find her casket in the land of the dead. Beato understood. That ring. No. The feelings of the pair embodied in that ring were a miracle made real. In that moment, George definitely used magic. Beato had done nothing more than help him along. That magic had a power that could only reside in those who knew of the importance of the life, who knew what it meant to try with all one's might. It was the power of a miracle, one that the Endless Witch couldn't possibly know of a miracle that only the power of the finite could give it rise to. By now, she had no choice but to accept it. She had to accept that the true magical power, exists in a place furthest away from she who called herself a great witch.
ベアトリーチェ様。
彼女が君を生き返らせてくれたんだ。ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。
いいや。わらわは何もできなかった。シャノンをよみがえらせたのはそなたの魔力、そなたの魔法、奇跡を成し遂げる後宮の地。確かに見届けさせてもらったぞ。
ジョージさんが私を。
うん。わらわなど足元にも及ばぬほどの凄まじき魔力であったぞ。わらわなどまだまだ見習いの域を出ぬか。今こそ身の程を知ろうぞ。
Beato staggered backwards. Her physical strength was clearly exhausted. She had humbly said that George's power alone had revived Shannon, but Beato had also used all of her magical and physical strength. And she reflected upon how difficult it was to revive a single life. Something she'd been able to play around with however she wanted to do in the past. The couple kept on embracing each other tightly. By doing that, those feelings that couldn't be communicated with a billion words were shared.
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。君は僕たちの恩人だ。
ありがとうございます、ベアトリーチェ様。再びジョージ様に会わせてくださったこのご恩を決して忘れません。
よせよせ。愛し合う二人に感謝されては外道の極みと恐れられたわらわにはくすぐったすぎるというものよ。わらわのことは気にするな。存分に再会を祝い合え。
Beato, who was leaning back with her back against the wall, slid down the wall and sat. How many centuries had it been since she last grew this tired from using magic? I probably haven't been this tired since the first time I succeeded in magic. Didn't teacher praise me that time? Oh, but didn't I kill that same teacher who praised me? Oh, you have different teachers, not just Virgilia? Don't be so naive, Beatrice. Isn't that what killing means?
ようやく魔法の使い方を思い出したようですね。頭ん中酸欠でカラッカラで思い出すもヘチマもねえぜ。それよりあんた殺したじゃねえかよ。現れるんじゃねえよ。あなたが未だに私を生かしていますよ。だからこうして現れられます。もっともあなたの頭を撫でに来たわけでもありませんが、無様なわらわをわざわざ嘲笑いに来たかよ。それに隠居までした魔女が今さら頭なんか撫でられちゃ他の魔女の笑い者だぜ。そうですね。一人前どころか現役を退いたと豪語するあなたなのに、今頃になって魔法の使い方を覚えたなど恥ずかしくて誰にも言えませんね。内緒にしてくれよ、お師匠様。
Beato gazed at the couple, hugging each other with a sense of pleasant despondency.
愛か。勝てねえな。
45、データ受領。
Here we go again.
射撃準備完了。弾手選定、装填。
Oh my god. No. No.
410、射撃。2匹。
This just happened. Why did it need to die though? The gold snake arrow fired by the Chiesters weaved its way through the bushes in the rose garden, weaved its way through the hedges, and climbed the stone steps toward the mansion's entrance, aiming for the keyhole. No, it weaved through the corridors and flew into the keyhole on the door to the parlor. It happened in an instant. One could hardly blame Beato, who was completely worn out, for not noticing it beforehand. No, the lovers both. Right before Beato's eyes, the gold snake flew in through the keyhole, surrounded the two lovers, and pierced the two hearts in the blink of an eye. Furthermore, the gold snake faithfully pierced a hole through Shannon's chest once more. The two hearts were pierced by that gold snake. No, by that gold sewing thread of the new brutal witch's furniture. and it had happened in an instant, mocking the amount of effort it had taken to revive Shannon. So yeah, gone. Just like that again. Before Beato Shock's eyes, the two fell over and landed on the floor.
ジョージシャノン
ありがとうベアトリーチェわずかの間でも会わせてくれてありがとう
George spent his last breath thanking Beato and died alongside the one he loved. The gold snake, which still soothed the two in peace or in place, spun like a large cyclone revolving around the inside of the parlor. It was searching for further prey in that room. Then the tip of the snake met Beato's gaze. In that instant, Beato was prepared. At that moment, Virgilia stood in front of her, the fingers of both her hands drawing a seal. Instantly, gold-colored gold leaf buried the inside of the parlor. It was like a blizzard of gold.
ベアト今のうちに逃げてシエスタの黄金宮からは誰も逃れられない
410標的失端
Wait, wait a second. Beato, run while you can. No one can escape from Chiester's golden bow.
にひゃ魔法機マシ45了解索敵変更対人画像追尾方式標的再補足410へデータリンク410データ受領すっとろいに先代様来て来て来て着弾
Prey targeted by the Chister sisters' golden bow did not escape. It could not be blocked. No magical barrier could even dream of blocking it without being multi-layered. The gap opened during that instant of confusion caused Virgilia's deception magic was Beato's only chance to escape. And it was the only chance to make the sisters confuse Virgilia for Beato. As Virgilia spread her arms wide, blocking the way to her beloved disciple, the gold snake pierced through her heart. After sneaking in through the keyhole, the snake shot through George, Shannon, and then Virgilia in an instant. Why is she gonna be gone again? I mean, Virgilia? Completely failing to notice Beato as she used that instant to escape. So is this finally GG for Virgilia? As soon as Virgilia saw that Beato had gotten away, she died. The strength left her body and like gold dust drifting with the wind, her form was erased. Beato completely erased all traces of her magical power, became gold butterflies and passed through the wall, escaping to the wind and rain outside. Beato felt regret from the bottom of her heart. Why? Because she had been attacked by the new witch? Probably not. Of course she hated losing her teacher. And even more importantly, Beato was enraged at the barbarism that had brutally stolen away the reunion between two lovers. Beato had poured out almost all of her magical power to reunite them. Even though the result had been a miracle, and the time it took to seal that away had been so ridiculously short. Beato trembled at the barbarous cruelty that had brought about such an abrupt end. Besides, this was a true form of the acts she herself had committed up until that point. So, just as strongly as Beato hated the new witch, she also looked at her previous self with disgust. But now she had to escape. If she was a target, or if she was targeted next, she would probably lose her life. To think that a chess player had descended thinking they were like a god, only to be attacked by the pieces.
45着弾確認標的資産間違いなく先代様を撃破しました。また私たちの撃墜気象が増えちまうに。
Honestly, this Chester, this number 410 is the annoying one.
にひ愛し合う二人なんだっけ。引き裂いて一度合わせて二度もう一度引き裂いて三度楽しめるだっけ。そのついでにあのクソうるさいババアまでさよならできて最高にご機嫌よ。ラノウェイ文句ないわよね。
ございませんとも。ベアトリーチェ様。
あいつは魔女の碑文の儀式を妨害したのよ。第一の番の生贄を勝手に蘇らせて私の儀式を妨害したわ。文句言われる筋合いなんかなんにもないわよ。しかしずるいなあ。あいつは死体を残さないのね。あのババアも思いっきり何度も無限にいじめ殺して遊んでやろうと思ったのに。
Are we gonna see maybe a battle again between the Golden Witches, but this time, yeah, Eva Beatrice versus
ジョージが
our Beato.
来てないわよ。いつ降りたのよ。
いつって。あれは何時くらいだったっけ。
確か4時か5時くらいだったかな。最低でも1時間以上は前だよ。
俺たち眠くなってその後は多分居眠りしてたし。でも多分ジェシカの言う通りだと思うぜ。1時間か2時間くらい前だった。
私もそのくらいの頃だと記憶しています。
Dude, Dr. Nanjo is so lucky, man. He's just chilling here, surviving. No problems at all.
コーヒーのおかわりはいるかと聞かれましたからな。
Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently, when Aunt Ava had left for a second to wash her hands, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nazi had disappeared. How many people are left now? 4 people left? 4. Yeah, dude, 4 people left. Jessica, Butler, Ava, and Nanjo. Only 4 left. What is gonna happen in this game? There's no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked and all were locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't just true for the first door, the second floor was the same. Again, all the doors and windows had locks built in a way that made it impossible to lock them from the outside. In other words, there was no way that Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nazi had gone outside. And yet, they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared, so had George Aniki of all people. George Aniki had left saying he was going to get more coffee and had gone downstairs more than an hour earlier. We'd assumed that he was having a conversation with Aunt Ava and the rest. But Aunt Ava, who had been in the lobby the whole time, said that no one had come down. Since all the doors and the windows were locked from the inside, it was unthinkable that they had gone outside. However, 3 humans had evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfected closed room. How would you even explain that, right? If a butler did his investigation here for Kraus, for Nazi, how do you explain that? We haven't even seen the bodies yet. In a situation like this, we couldn't even imagine that this was because they were playing hide and seek and trying to scare us with a prank. It was probably reasonable to assume that they'd been caught up in this crime. When Aunt Ava had learned that her only son was missing, she had gone half insane, running from room to room and yelling his name. Look at that, there's a chair there near the window. Okay. Cries of George, George, and Mom and Dad had continued to echo through the guest house for some time. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's dead face. It would be reasonable to assume that he snuck out of the guest house and went to the mansion. But I didn't have a clue about Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuhi. Did they see him leave and then go to the mansion to search for him? Without even telling Aunt Ava? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we start planning to leave the guest house to go search for them. When that time comes, I'll agree. We thought staying holed up in the guest house would be safe. Which was why our big happy group of 12 people locked themselves up here this morning. And yet, now there's only 4 of us left. That means staying here is no guarantee of safety. However, there's one thing we can afford to forget. All the doors and windows were locked from the inside. This is a closed room. How did they manage to vanish from this place? We searched around thoroughly. However, we couldn't find any traces of someone hiding. The 3 of them had almost certainly been taken outside of the guest house.
どうやってでしょう。まさか隠し扉とかがあるとか。
隠し扉？
扉も窓も外から閉めることは構造上不可能です。釣り糸の類を使ってもこの構造では無理でしょうな。となれば扉や窓以外から出たと考えるのが妥当でしょう。
確かに。そういう論法にもなるだろうよ。隠し扉が存在しないなんて断言は誰にもできない。しかし、そういう発想に飛躍する前に、俺はもっとシンプルな可能性も疑ってる。
と申しますと
For some time, Butler had been opening windows, opening shutters, and checking outside, repeating this for each window.
この窓は静かだな。なるほど。この窓は他と違って、建物の構造上、風が吹き込まないわけか。
そのようですな。こんなにも外は風雨なのに、雨も風も入ってこないとは不思議な気持ちです。
南條先生。今、窓を開けたとき、音を感じたかい？
いえ、気にはなりませんでしたな。
よく油が効いていると思います。
つまり誰も見ていない廊下の窓からひょろっと抜け出すことは可能なわけだ。しかもこの窓なら風も吹き込まないから。
Okay, in other words, it's possible to slink through a window in the hallway when no one is looking. Furthermore, the wind doesn't blow in through this window.
風圧でカーテンや扉が音を立てることもない。
So the air pressure wouldn't cause the curtains or a door to make a sound.
静かなもんさ。
Butler leaned forward and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had jumped down. But yeah, didn't they fly? Him and Beato, but at glance he didn't see any mark like that on the grass in the middle of the pouring rain. How do you explain that? Yeah.
こういう窓が1階にもあるのかもしれない。誰にも気づかれずに表へ出ることは可能だぜ。
しかし扉はおろか、窓はすべて施錠されて鎧戸まで閉まっていましたぞ。出ることは可能でも閉めることは不可能だ。
閉められるぜ。こうやってカチャンとな。
Butler closed the window and locked it as though this was a perfectly obvious.
まさかバトラさんが。
最後に中の人間が鍵を閉めればこんな密室は朝飯前だ。
しかしそれではそれでは。
Nanjo turned pale and shook his head several times, because the thing Butler had said had forced him to face a fact that was frightening even to imagine.
俺の想像したトリックならな。しかしこんなトリックを使えば怪しまれる人物は極めて限定される。
He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, but after eliminating Jessica, who had been with him the whole time, only Nanjo and Ava could have done it.
私はそんなことをしませんぞ。誓ってもいい。
となるとエヴァおばさんと南條先生のアリバイ合戦ってことになる。
Ooh, what if Nanjo is actually the evil guy in this game, right? In this whole game, he is the evil person. He can't win against Kinzo in chess, so that's why he enacted all of this, right? He is an odd one out. He's the only person from the outside, right? He's not a servant. He's just a doctor that comes here to visit or to check on Kinzo, right?
俺たちは二人とも怪しんで
Imagine that.
それぞれを別々に監禁すればいいだけの話。逆に言えばこのトリックはもっと生存者が多ければ有効かもしれないが、これだけ人数が減った状況下では大して有効ではないんだ。
No, on the contrary, there'd be a chance of having your own neck strangled by using it. It would have been more advantageous to make it look like the culprit was outside. To intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window.
もしこの失踪劇が今日の昼にでも起これば、俺は自信満々にこの説を発表しただろうよ。だがこの段階に至っては全然自信が持てないぜ。何なんだこいつは。一体何を意味してやがるんだこの密室はよ。
やはりその。
なんだい南條先生。思いつきでもいいから言ってくれよ。
Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words, even though he thought of something, so I urged him on. After Dr. Nanjo refused several times, saying that it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud.
そのやはりこれは本当に魔女の仕業ではないのかと。
バカバカしい。魔女なんているわけがねえぜ。
魔女は私たちに訴えたいのです。人間にはできないことをやってのけるからこそ、自分を魔女だと認めさせたいに違いないのです。私はこのゲストハウス全体の密室からの失踪は、そういう魔女からのメッセージだと感じています。考えてはならないのです。意味なんてきっとないのです。私は恐ろしい。
As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear, it looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining one after the other. When we went down the stairs, Aunt Ava and Jessica were enraged, okay? And were each persistent in the desire to leave this place and search for their respective families. I mean, understandable? It was a desire that naturally hits those who can no longer see the family. Yeah, because yeah, they're missing. They don't know if they're dead. So they want to go out and search for them. Aunt Ava told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking.
もう引きこもりはたくさんだぜ。俺も外の空気を吸いたくなってきた。
ああ、行くならさっさと行こうぜ。もうこんなところに閉じこもってるのは真っ平さ。早く父さんや母さんやジョージ兄さんを探しに行こう。
The blood had all risen to Jessica's head. I hope it doesn't set off her stamina.
残りたい人は勝手に残ってればいいわ。とにかく私たちは表を探してくるわ。
南條先生はどうする？一人で留守番してるかい？
私もご一緒させてください。
Rather than holding up alone in the guest house, whose security was by no means guaranteed, it would be better to enter a danger zone as a group of 4 people. But yeah, first to die here, on the remaining ones, for sure it's gonna be Nanjo. Nanjo or Jessica, yeah. And I guess the last one who will be surviving in this episode would be probably Ava. Right, maybe Ava. Aunt Ava had a gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made into the next victim. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. Even though it should have been safe to barricade ourselves here, we lost 8 people after doing so. It was almost as though it was this holding cell from which the sacrifice could be killed one after another. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door, and opened it. It was already pitch black, so while there were some lights outside that dimly lit pathway, they didn't have enough power to pierce the darkness that some suspicious person might be hiding in.
行くわよ。遅れても知らないんだからね。
Still holding her gun, Aunt Ava dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed her. After glancing at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. What in the world is happening in this mansion on this island? I've just been shut up in this guest house with the rest of the cousins since yesterday, so I don't know anything about what's going on outside. But just what is happening that I don't know about? Outside this room in the mansion on this island, everything is happening, everything is proceeding, and everything is ending without my knowledge or knowing it, I mean. Somewhere in my heart, I already started giving up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. When the seagulls cry, nobody will be left alive. Correct. Oh my god. But yeah, we haven't seen, what's his name? Otherworld Butler. Yeah, the other one. Where is he? What happened to him? It's been a while. Maybe like, yeah, two videos? Okay, probably found him for sure. Okay, poor Jessica here. But yeah, So we saw George. I actually didn't expect that Shannon would be revived in this. But yeah, if she got revived, I always assumed that they would just die, or she would die in an instant. But I didn't expect that it was still gonna be Ava Beatrice ordering it. I thought maybe Beata would like show her actual self, show that she was not pretending, right? Or show that she was pretending, and then she would just strike them down right there. But it did not happen, and then Virgilia died as well, right? For the second time. So are we not gonna be seeing Virgilia on the other side now? Or what? If she shows up there, I'm gonna be super confused, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah. Found, I guess, at least in the scene, let's assume that, yeah, Jessica found her parents. And then maybe we'll find George and Shannon next time. So yeah, we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry, episode 3 in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.